All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to cut right through all the AI hype. What we're doing here is giving you a real, practical playbook for deploying AI products that actually work and deliver real business value. Let's get to it. This quote from the Stanford Digital Economy Lab just nails it. They looked at 51 different enterprise AI projects and found something fascinating. Success wasn't about having the fanciest, most cutting-edge model. Nope. It was always about the organization's readiness, its leadership, and its processes.
And that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's not about just buying a new tool or plugging in an API. It's about building an entire system. And that's exactly what we're going to walk through today, a clear, actionable framework to do just that.
We've set this up like a guided workshop, broken down into 5 key parts. We're going to start with a big picture strategy, then drill down into a tactical framework. We'll talk about resourcing, cover the crucial people and risk side of things, and finally, we'll wrap up with how you measure what actually matters.
Okay, first things first, and this is probably the most important rule of all. Successful AI projects, they don't start with AI. I know, it sounds counterintuitive. They start with a deep, deep understanding of a user problem. It's a simple idea, but you'd be shocked how often it gets ignored.
And this right here is the classic trap. A team gets all excited about the latest model and thinks, hey, let's shoehorn this into our product. But the best product strategies are surgical. They find a real point of friction for users and only then ask, hey, could AI be the best tool to solve this?
So you've got to follow a disciplined process. This 5-step loop forces you to ground every single idea in reality. You start with a real user pain point. Then you quantify it. What business metric does this actually affect? Then you ask the tough question. Is AI even the right tool, or could we use simpler rules? You define clear boundaries, what it should and shouldn't do. And then, only then, do you run a pilot and measure the results properly, like with an A/B test.
Okay, so we've got our high-level strategy down. Now, let's get tactical. We need a step-by-step process for actually building and launching these things.
This is where the USIDO framework comes in. It's a really powerful tool that helps cross-functional teams keep their AI projects on track. It stands for Understand, Specify, Implement, Deploy, and Optimize.
And every single step here is crucial. First, you understand the user problem inside and out. Then, you specify all the technical and data needs, no guesswork. You implement a quick prototype to learn fast. You deploy it, but with really careful monitoring. And finally, you optimize it constantly. You build a feedback loop that makes the product smarter and smarter over time.
All right, so you've got a validated idea, you've got a framework to build it, but now you're facing a huge strategic choice. Where are you actually going to get this AI capability from? This is the classic build, buy, or bake dilemma. And it's a fundamental decision. It's all about trade-offs, right? You're balancing control, how fast you can get to market, and just how much you can customize the solution for your exact needs. This chart breaks it down perfectly. If you build, you get total control. Great for your core intellectual property, but it's a huge investment and it's slow. If you buy, you can get to market super fast for standard stuff, but you're stuck with what the vendor gives you. And then there's baking with a partner, which is a hybrid. It blends customization with scalability, but man, you better be good at managing that partnership. And here you can see these strategies out in the wild. Notion builds its own AI because understanding a user's workspace is absolutely core to their product. Intercom, they buy AI to solve a common problem really fast, support tickets. And Spotify, they bake their legendary recommendation engine, blending their own unique user data with outside tech. So we've covered strategy and tech, but like we said at the very beginning, the organization is what really makes or breaks this. And that means we have to talk about people, culture, and some of the very real risks that come with this transformation.
One of the biggest risks that leaders are just now starting to wake up to is something called shadow AI. This is when your employees, usually with the best intentions, start using public AI tools to do their jobs, but they're doing it without any training, without any oversight, and with no real idea of the security risks they're creating.
And this is not some small fringe problem. A recent study found that 65% of employees are using AI models at work, many without the company even knowing. Think about that for a second. That is a massive organizational blind spot.
And the consequences here can be absolutely severe. We're talking about employees pasting sensitive financial data or confidential client info into a public tool. This can lead to huge data leaks, violating privacy laws like GDPR, creating new holes for cyber attacks, and potentially devastating your company's reputation. So what do you do about it? You have to lead. The AI maturity pyramid gives you a roadmap. It all starts at the bottom with building foundational knowledge about AI and its risks. From there, you foster a mindset of curiosity. Then you develop practical skills to actually pilot projects. And at the very top, you have true leaders who can think strategically about what's coming next.
And what's so critical to get is that this transformation isn't just a top-down thing. Your mid-level leaders are the essential link here. They're the connective tissue. They're close enough to the day-to-day work to spot real opportunities, to connect that high-level strategy to what people are actually doing, and to drive adoption. They are your most important change agents, period.
This brings us to our final section. You've built the strategy, you've got the process, you've got the team, but how in the world do you prove that it's actually working? The key is to move past the technical jargon and measure true business value.
This quote says everything. Look, your data science team might be thrilled about 92% model accuracy, but your CEO, she wants to know how that translates to the bottom line. The teams that really succeed are the ones who can bridge this gap, who can always connect technical performance to real business outcomes.
So instead of just talking about accuracy, you should be tracking metrics like these. Are you driving real growth by boosting customer retention? Are you making your team more productive by saving them hours on tedious tasks? Are you creating efficiency by lowering support costs? These are the numbers that prove your AI efforts are creating real, tangible value.
And this isn't a one-and-done deal. The AI proficiency cycle shows that this is a continuous journey. You prepare your team, you train them, you help them apply AI to their real workflows, and you track the business impact. And then you do it all over again, constantly getting smarter and more effective.
At the end of the day, building an AI-native organization, it isn't about finishing a project. It's about creating a living, breathing, self-improving system of people, processes, and technology. So the only real question left is, where are you going to start?